First, we have Mr. Entifadh Qanbar joining us. He's a Middle East expert, in fact, a Middle East expert. So I wish to understand from you, firstly, thank you so much for speaking to NDTV. There seems to be major protests that have gripped Iran at the moment. How exactly do you view the US President Donald Trump's statement coming amid this, where he's openly issued a threat to Iran, saying that if the rioters are killed or are harmed, then the US will strike Iran?
Well, I joined President Trump's campaign in 2024, and I have met with many of the friends' closest circle in person, and the motto was peace with strength. Trump believes that peace cannot happen without strength, and Iran has been wreaking havoc and mayhem in the Middle East. Iran has been the biggest terror sponsor state, not only in the world, in the history of mankind. And I think the toppling of this heinous regime, who is oppressing their own people for 47 years. Look at your country, India. It's a great country which has the biggest democracy in the world. We're all proud of it. Why can't the Iranians have democracy and freedom to choose their leaders? Why an ailing 90 years old Ayatollah imposing his backwarded idea on one of the most advanced and civilized people in the Middle East and the world, the Iranian people? I think the Iranians deserve their freedom. And I think President Trump has made the right move. The thing started, by the way, when President Trump killed Qasem Soleimani, the biggest terrorist in history, who was killed 6 years ago. Since then, the Iranian regime deterioration continued. But after October 7th and the 12 days war, the Iranian regime lost a lot of their strategic depth. They lost Hezbollah, they lost Hamas, they lost the Houthis, and now they lost one of their most strongest and important allies, Venezuela. So the grand strategy for President Trump is not only to topple the regime of Tehran, is to help the Iranian people to topple their own regime and to establish peace and prosperity in the Middle East and the world when this regime, God willing, will go away.
Very important, and you've rightly mentioned that Iran does deserve a democracy, but the question of course at hand is the fact that does the Reza, the crown prince who's been in exile, does he have that amount of support on ground in Tehran?
Well, I tell you one thing, the difficult and the uphill work has not started yet. Iran and the Excellency, the Shah, will find out that Iran is no longer what it used to be. It's divided, it's fragmented. There has to be new ideas for a new constitution. I would advise for federalism. Many experts here in Washington are fearful that if Khamenei falls down, Iran will be fragmented to several countries. I wish the Iranians could live together. Arabs, Persians, Baluch, Azaris in one country, but I don't think a central rule of Iran will work anymore. But I would leave this to the Iranian people to decide. I'm here to advise and to stand by them and stand by the people of Iran.
Well, so there's also this argument that, of course, the 1979 Islamic Revolution was something that may not be present within the conscience of the people, given the fact that many of them were not around the time when it happened. Do you perhaps think that that could be one of the factors, that could be one of the driving nostalgic factors, something that could be a ray of hope for, of course, the Reza, who could come in and usher perhaps a better way of life for them?
Well, even if the young generation have lived through the days of the Shah, freedom, you don't have to be taught to be free. Freedom, we are born with freedom. They have seen movies, they have seen documentaries, they have heard from their grandfathers and mothers and fathers how much better was the situation in Iran. Iran is a very, very rich country. Why the Iranian people has no food to eat? Why the Iranian people have their currency worth less than a piece of paper? All because the regime of Iran and Khamenei is paying these monies for terrorism to Hezbollah, against Israel, against the Arabs, they have destroyed at least 5 countries in the Middle East. All these taken from the money which is owned by the Iranian people, which could go back to the Iranian people. And I support and I pray to God the Iranian people will prevail and win this war. and I support President Trump's call for punishing whoever killing those innocent demonstrators.
Right, absolutely, Qanbar. Thank you so much for speaking to us, for speaking to NDTV. It was a pleasure speaking to you.